And hello, and we are live on the live stream. Today is the 4th of July, so we've got a very short episode. I've got with me Alvin Reyes, who's going to engage with me in a discussion after I show a short video. So, on the video, I'm going to be showing Tridion tips. So, we're going to be creating a lot of little clips to show people like some of the new features, some of the amazing things that you can do. So, with that said, I'm going to start it. We're going to be talking. The video is going to be showing how you could do translations within Tridion, and there's a lot of nuances, which depending on how you set up your parent sites, your child sites, etc., we'll show how that all works. So let me go ahead and launch this video.
Bringing to you some new Tridion tips. For this scenario, I'm going to be focusing on translations in Tridion Sites 10. As some of you have been working on Tridion Sites 10, you might have noticed this brand new user interface. We've been making lots of changes in Experience Space, and we've been making some changes when it comes to the translations. So here I'm in the English publication, and I've got some components. I'm going to just take a quick preview, and I'm going to open up this preview tab. So not only does this preview tab allow you to see what the content is, so there's no need to do multiple clicks to open up the content to see what it is, but you can also see what's going on with the blueprint hierarchy. So you can see like where this content has been localized. But more importantly, you can also keep up to date with the status of the translations and if any of the content has not been translated, and there might be some languages which are out of date. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and we're going to simply translate into simplified Chinese. So to do that, I'll press the easy button, and you notice over here on this icon, there's a green arrow, which means it's to translate the children. I'm going to show this scenario first, which is a push type of model, but then also show how the children, so the children publications and the regional publications can actually pull translations. So from here, I'll push the translate children. I'll select simplified Chinese. Now the actual workflow that I'm going to choose is just simple machine translation. It goes back and forth. If I wanted a human in the loop, I could have chosen the translation plus review. But let's just go ahead and send this off to for translation. All right, so while that job is going off, I also wanted to show you that there's a nice way that you can do things where if you're in one of the child publications, so the Spanish publication, for instance, you'll notice that you'll get this big warning saying, hey, this translation is out of date. And then to start a translation process from one of the child publications, you can just press the translate button here, and then that will just push you'll have the option to do the translation for your publication. So from here, I'll just go ahead and send this off to translation, and then the translation was created. And by the way, there's a lot of really nice things that you can do while you're inside these child publications. It's very easy to go ahead and take a look and see where this content has been further localized or is available in an actual website. And then from here, you can view it in the Explorer. And once you're viewing that content in the Explorer, then you could do all sorts of nice things where you can say, okay, now let me view this content on a particular website. And so this particular component is available on the homepage, it's on multiple pages, etc. So we've really tied together the ability for you to not only see which translations are out of date, request translations by a push of the button, but then also, see the translations as they come back and on the site. Thank you very much.
All right. So that was the video. So what I wanted to do is I want to have a quick discussion with Alvin just about like some of the different models that we have when it comes to doing translation. So in that video, I showed the model of where you've got a series of publications, which are language publications, and you had like French, German, Spanish inheriting from the English publication, and then from there those publications would then feed other publications, which would be websites. And that was the scenario that I showed of doing a translation from the top down. But then I also showed, well, what if you, for example, were running the Spanish site, and how would you pull translations in? So, Alvin, when you were designing Experience Space, what were some of the things that you guys were thinking about in terms of the different push pull models?
For well, credit goes to the introducing the translation manager piece into Experience Space. That goes to the current team. Natalia, Danny, Nick, and team have been doing a great job with that. So I can't take credit for adding that to the quote unquote new UI. But blueprinting in general is something that's quite powerful. The ability to create content once and then reuse it across different publications, localizing it either for market or channel or language, right? Um, so visibility was a big thing. So if you look in the blueprint viewer, knowing where an item comes from and where it's localized,
Hmm.
we spent a good amount of time working out those requirements and what owns something. Um, and I remember kind of a funny story on that one is blueprinting sophisticated enough that in the blueprint viewer you can actually have um, a scenario where something else owns the item you're looking at. So even some of those edge cases caught me by surprise. I'm like, where? Wait, hold on. Where did this item go? But the big thing is the visibility. How to what owns something, where something is localized, and that kind of awareness you'll see in the blueprint viewer. And for the translations pane, some of the information that's in the classic UI, like things being out of date or translated, that was available somewhat hidden in the classic UI, but now it's much more visible in experience space.
Yeah, and it's funny when you mentioned the blueprint viewer. Like I'm waiting for either us or a partner or somebody to come up with some amazing like three-dimensional blueprint viewer where you can see like, okay, here's my page, here's how it's been localized, and sort of be able to visually, get a nice sort of sci-fi view of all your content, etc.
That yes, yes. Nick on the UI team came up with some prototype, like showing the relationships, and I think the original blueprint viewer it had an interesting cycle. I think it was first made as a Power Tools, like
Hmm.
the Curine team, and in an old version it was I think it was SVGs before SVGs were really popular. And then there was a version put into the product,
Okay.
and now we're back to like what's next in the community. If
Yeah.
you look at Philip Engel's original designs, there is a kind of graph. It's a graph of a graph of relationships, including blueprinting relationships in those early designs. So it'd be exciting to see where that goes. Again, going back to the awareness, how is your content used? What's owning it? Because in a lot of organizations, there's this push and pull between full global control
Hmm.
versus local publications, and I think that's what you're showing with the pull translations versus push.
Right. Yeah, I think that's one of the sort of key things that we've got is that global control, but then you can also have these regional types of sites where there's certain guardrails down, but they're going to be able to, simply pull content from the parent site, and schedule their own translations, as well as making their own content just for their own region without polluting sort of the main sort of central site, etc. I think that's a very cool feature. And of course, there's no cut and paste. Like all of those components are still connected to one another, which I think
Where they're
is
yeah,
super
exactly,
super important.
where they are.
It's funny. It's easy to cut and paste, but you'll pay for it later. Uh,
Yeah.
um, Cool. There's some other news that we have. Do you want to talk about Elsa's component content alliance and the LinkedIn group that we've just launched?
Yeah, on LinkedIn, we have a group called the Component Content Alliance. It's somewhat geared for component content management systems and structured content. But Tridion Sites is part of the Tridion suite, which includes both web and component content management through Tridion Sites and Tridion Docs. So if you're interested, go look for Component Content Alliance on LinkedIn, and we can get that on, I think, this channel, or we'll push it out so people can join. It's an exclusive group. Sign up for it, and Elsa will welcome you to the group, and you can follow along and post information, share some thought leadership and whatnot around content.
Yeah, and you know what? Why don't we'll have a link from the community in that link section. We'll put a new link to
Yep.
this alliance, and yeah, we're looking forward to everybody joining. Um, I know it's the 4th of July, and we've got barbecues and celebrations to go off to. Any final closing thoughts, Alvin?
Um, no, just last time I mentioned Independence Day. Some of colleagues across the pond were saying it's not an Independence Day for us, you rebels. It was something like that. It was like, oh yeah, we're think in a global context. So do enjoy
It's true.
the day and everything.
Well, yeah,
And
because in the
yeah.
UK, it's the day that they lost, they
No,
lost they
I
lost the
didn't go.
colonies.
I didn't go in that direction, but
All right then. Well, thank you very much. We'll catch up with everyone next month on the live stream. We'll have some more tips, and then we'll also have a panel discussion. Anyway, have a great 4th of July for everyone in the US, and for everybody elsewhere in the world. Enjoy this day as well. It's a beautiful summer day. All right. Take care. Bye,
cheers.
everyone.
Bye bye.